Welcome to today's Umbraco Tech webinar. My name is Jonas and I'm your host today. As per usual, these webinars are for us to share relevant insights and perspectives to our ecosystem, and in this case with our tech partner QBank. And I have the pleasure today of having Hutan as my co-host today. Actually, Hutan will be doing the most of the presenting today. And as I said, Hutan is from one of our valued tech partners here at Umbraco, QBank. And Hutan will explain more about QBank and share some relevant insights and perspectives. One thing, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll round up with answering all your questions at the end of the presentation. And from there, Hutan, I'll hand it over to you for you to present yourself and the agenda for today.
Thank you so much, Jonas and Umbraco, for having me. So let me just try to share my screen. There we go. So hi, everyone. As Jonas mentioned, my name is Hutan Soelzad. I'm Business Development Officer at QBank. I've been with the company since the start, and I have some plus 20 years of experience working with implementing DAM solutions for large global organizations. And I've had various different roles at this company, developer, CTO, and so on. So today I will talk a bit about some insights around what you should focus on when marketing budgets are being cut, or what your clients should be focusing on from the DAM perspective and the content creation. And then secondly, we will be talking a bit about how to get control of the assets and integrating the Umbraco with QBank and how our connector works. But first of all, just a short intro to QBank. QBank is a digital asset management supplier with headquarters in Stockholm. Today, we are working with some over 350 brands, and we have lots of different integrations and different partners, and our partners are divided into tech partners and also as SIs and implementation partners. Just to give you some insights about the companies or clients that are using QBank right now, and as I mentioned, it's mostly based out of Europe and Nordics, but we do also have some global clients in Asia and the US working with QBank. And the use case and the use of QBank for these clients are very different depending on what kind of business they work with. So our retailers have different type of challenges that they solve with QBank DAM compared to our large enterprise companies like Ericsson, or construction companies like Peab and so on. So all of these clients have different type of use cases and different challenges that they are solving with QBank. So this is what the tool is all about, having a central storage area for all types of files. And from QBank, you basically have two different workflows. First is the ingestion of assets, where QBank can help you with automation of how your assets and data is fetched from external tools into QBank. And then those assets are getting refined inside of QBank. And assets might be photos, it might be videos, documents, spec sheets, illustrations, icons, logos, and so on. And then from QBank, they can be distributed out to different channels. And that's where most of our connectors and integrations come into play, where users can access assets inside of QBank from within Umbraco, for instance, or from within InDesign or Photoshop or PowerPoint. And except for the time-saving perspective, and not having to download assets and converting them into the right formats. The most important driver for our clients is having a single source of truth for assets and getting control. So whenever you use an asset on a certain channel, for instance, inside of Umbraco or social media, we get reports back to QBank about the usage. So it would, for instance, say, this person, this editor inside of Umbraco has used this photo on this web page at this time. So you would get full control of where the assets are being used. So that's the big driver for our clients. So that was short about QBank. Now going into the topics for today. Based on the current economical situation and the market situation we have in the world today, what we believe the clients should be focusing on is, first of all, being more data-driven and allocating the resources and their budgets more efficiently. Second of all is prioritizing campaigns with the highest ROI. And by that, we mean focus on existing clients and create more personalized content. And the third is trying to find cost-effective alternatives for creating contents and campaigns. Do we really need to put so much resources into the creation and so on? And is there anything we can automate when it comes to creating those kind of content and assets? So data-driven insights for being more effective when it comes to resource allocation. I'm going to do a customer example for you. And this is one of the 5 largest media companies in the world, working with some of the most known brands in the world when it comes to media. They are operating in 180 different countries, 27 languages, and they have more than 250 million followers on social media, with a bit more than 1.6 billion reach per month. And they are creating 3,000 to 4,000 assets and distributing them through QBank today. That's per month. So the challenges that we're facing was, are we actually spending our time and money on creating the right type of content? What kind of content works, and what should we focus on? And do we really need to create so many assets? And also, how can we make sure that the right teams are receiving the right assets in the right time? So those were the challenges that they were facing. Basically, they were sitting around the content creation team, arguing with the marketers and the communicators about, okay, this is what we think should work in South America, or this is what we think should work in Asia. And they were spending lots of money on creating content that wasn't being used, or nobody was watching on those social media channels. So we sat down and checked, okay, how can QBank help? First of all, we realized we need to have the right metadata structure and the tagging of content. For instance, tagging, metadata structure tagging means, okay, which markets should this content be published to, distributed to, who is the owner, what kind of languages, and so on. All the information we need for that distribution and for also collecting the insights afterwards. After that, looking at automations. Okay, how can we automate the distribution of assets? And here the tagging is the key. So for instance, if something is uploaded and tagged with a certain language, then it should be automatically pushed to these teams and to these social media channels on these different markets, for instance. And then once those assets have been distributed, again, based on that tagging, you can start to collect insights about, okay, what kind of content is working, and what kind of languages are working in these different markets and so on. And after that, they can start working more lean, agile, and be more reactive and quickly adapt to new trends. So for instance, there is a new trend coming up on TikTok, for instance. So how quickly can we start creating content for that new trend? So that's the type of things that they have gained when they don't need to create as much content as they did before and working more lean and agile. So after 14 months with QBank, they did some measuring. Now they have been a client for more than 6 years today, but this is what they found out after 14 months. And that was the fact that they had decreased the amount of assets and content being created by 46%. But the engagement they have had on all channels on social media and so on was up 100%, and they were beating their targets twice that year. So that everything came out of the fact that they had better insights and more information about what kind of assets that work or what kind of content that works on those different markets. So more engagement and saving lots of money and time on focusing on creating the right type of assets. Now the second topic was prioritizing campaigns with high return on investment. Again, I'm gonna do an example from an existing client of QBank. So first of all, we need to understand that focus should be lots around personalization. So because working with your loyal customers, that's when you would gain the most return on investment from your marketing activities. And according to McKinsey, companies that excel at personalization can generate 40% more revenue from those kind of activities. So first of all, what marketers should try to do is try to identify the repetitive tasks they have and how they can use automation for creating digital assets and content. And again, according to the study that McKinsey did, around 40% of the time of a communicator or marketer, up to 40% of the time is wasted on those repetitive manual work. So this is an example for Coop in Norway. They have 1.8 million members. They're doing 10 different email campaigns across all their chains, and they have 8 different brands, and they have around 1 million registered email addresses, of which 31% are loyal members, and they are doing over 500,000 SMS and app push on weekly basis. So they were thinking, okay, how can we get some more out of this and use this to boost our revenue? So they started their personalization at scale project, which meant that going from all these 1 million email addresses, getting the same email, to creating 932,000 unique emails instead, because everybody was getting the same offers, no matter if this was a family with small children or if it was a retired couple, everybody was getting the same offers. So we created a tool that based on content that comes in from the campaign management tool can automatically create price offers based on which kind of brand it is. So as you can see, these photos that you're seeing here are automatically generated by QBank through our tool called the Banner Builder. So it can also be used for creating banners automatically, but in this case, it's as you can see, it's creating these price offerings automatically based on the information that we receive from their promotion campaign management engine. And once these are created, QBank is then forwarding it to their marketing automation and management tool that keeps track of which client that should receive what kind of offer in their next email campaign. And Coop, I don't have the numbers of how much their revenue increased, but the goal was to increase the revenue by 10% with this personalization at scale project. And these the same offers that the clients would also see in their mobile apps and so on. And the third topic was finding the cost-effective and automated alternatives for promotions and advertisements. So basically, what we would like to highlight here is trying to use and understand what you can do with AI tools and machine learning. As you can see, there are lots of different tools that have been developed during the last couple of years, and this is not something that is a trend. I mean, this is something that's here to stay. So the sooner you can jump on this wagon and start looking at how you and your clients can start using this tool to gain competitive advantage, the better it would be. And just to give you an example of that is that there is a tool that we are integrating into QBank currently. And this is a company that has collected millions of data points based on eye tracking. So basically, they have shown lots of different photos and banners, ads, emails, and so on for a large group of people. And with eye tracking, they have collected all this data. And based on that data, they have created an engine that can predict human behavior and see what kind of information on a certain photo that takes the focus and what people would probably look at. So, for instance, in case you have a logo that is too large that takes all the focus, you would see that. So this means that you don't need to add lots of efforts on doing A/B tests in the future. You can just upload your campaigns to QBank, and then QBank would use this tool to predict what parts of this ad, banner, or price offering would take the focus from the end users. So that's just an example of how you can use AI to just optimize and work more efficiently with your creating of your content and campaigns. So finally, our last topic for today is how you can get better control of your assets when integrating Umbraco and QBank together. So first of all, just going through how the integration works. So basically, we have built a connector, which is where we have support for Umbraco 7, 8, 10, and 11. what we have done is that we have integrated QBank into Umbraco, so you would basically be able to create property types of type QBank, and then you would be able to pick assets that are approved for the Umbraco channel inside of Umbraco. And by assets, again, I mean, it can be videos, documents, photos, illustrations, whatever you have uploaded to your QBank and approved for your Umbraco channel would pop up inside of Umbraco. You can open those assets up, you can crop them, you can change the formats of them directly, and then you can add them to your Umbraco page. And once you publish a page, then the information will be sent back to QBank about who has been using this asset inside of Umbraco, but also on what web pages this asset is being visible right now. So again, getting that control of where your assets are being used. And then we also have the support for CDN, which means that either the assets can physically be downloaded to Umbraco, or the second alternative is that you can utilize QBank CDN capabilities, which means that you could point several websites at the same asset. And if that asset gets updated in QBank, if it's a photo, somebody likes to change a cropping of that, or you update it with a new version, especially when it comes to documents. As soon as you update it in QBank, all the websites that are using that photo or document would get updated at the same time. So just to show you a customer example that is using this integration, this is SPX Flow, an industrial global player. They're working with 24 different brands in 30 different markets, and they have some more than 140,000 products, over 5,000 technical documents, and over 3,000 partners, internal stakeholders, resellers, and so on that needs to get access to this product information and technical documents. And they started implementing Umbraco and QBank at the same time. So that was part of their new digital platform. They started with Umbraco first, and they thought, okay, can we use a digital asset management tool to make sure that we can use the same assets across all our tools. So this is this current solution that we have set up with SPX Flow at the moment. So QBank is not only feeding Umbraco with assets, we also have the creative teams working in InDesign, Photoshop, publishing the videos on YouTube, the same videos that are displayed on the website. They have an e-commerce platform for their partners. It's a B2B platform. Previously, before QBank, they had different stakeholders that had to make sure that both websites was updated with the right photos, product photos, and also e-commerce, which created lots of inconsistency because people didn't have time to update the different tools and so on. So now they only upload that into QBank, and then with a couple of clicks, it's updated everywhere. They also have a media portal and a document lookup tool. So the media portal is somewhere all these 3,000 plus consumers of assets can log in, and depending on which kind of brand and which kind of product line they work with, they only get access to that that line of assets inside of the media portal. The same goes with the document lookup tool. So again, it's all about getting that control and not having to update your assets in all these different channels. Just update a document with a new version in QBank and a new language, and it all pops up in all these channels within a couple of seconds. Great. So last few words. What you gain with a DAM, as you can, or as you have heard in this presentation, reducing manual work, ensuring brand consistency, start reusing the content instead of creating new by getting more control of your assets, shorten time to market. Again, you don't have to upload the assets onto 10 different channels. You just upload it in one place and it's updated everywhere. That helps the clients to stay competitive in the digital world, and also avoiding penalties for expired copyrights. Great. So please stay in touch. And if you're interested in knowing more about our partner program, just feel free to browse to QBankDAM.com/partner and get in touch with my colleagues that will help you.
Thanks a lot, Housan. Great presentation and some great insights. I have a couple of questions for you. You said it yourself now that at any Umbraco agency or an Umbraco end client that might be on this webinar are more than welcome to reach out. But one of the things that I would like to understand a little bit more on is how you work with partners like Umbraco agencies. If you could perhaps elaborate on that.
Yes, so we are looking for partners that can help us with all the way from implementation, setup, configuration of QBank to creating those media portals and integrations. So basically, all the integrations that we have, well, not all of them actually, but 80 to 90% of all the integrations we have are driven by our partners and are created by our partners. So we are looking for partners that can basically help us with implementing QBank and creating those integrations for our clients.
Thank you. Another question that pops up in that regard, of course, is when it comes to implementation. I think that's very relevant for Umbraco agencies to know how long does it take to implement QBank, and perhaps you can also put some words on how easy it is to configure the connector.
Yeah. So good question. So first of all, how long does it take to implement QBank? We always recommend our clients to not go with a big bang. So the SPX flow case, as I mentioned, it all started with setting up Umbraco and QBank together and making sure that that integration works and they can have something they can build on. And all the other integrations that you saw on my diagram there is something that has evolved during the last couple of years. So I think lots of clients don't have the maturity or don't have that control of their digital assets. So that's the most important thing. Just get control of the digital assets, maybe do an integration or two, and then afterwards it will just be an ongoing project. But getting started with that first part, it's a matter of a couple of weeks just to get started. When it comes to the Umbraco integration, yeah, we have an installation package, and then basically it's all about getting that configuration from QBank side and then setting it up. Again, that shouldn't take more than a couple of hours to get started with the standard solution. But then always maybe you need to do some tweaks and changes depending on the website. Thanks,
Housan. Really appreciate it. I guess we are right on time also. Thanks a lot for your presentation, Housan. We will share the recording of this webinar for everyone that's participated. If you have something you wanted to share with a colleague or anything like that, along with also contact details for QBank. And thanks a lot for participating.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Good afternoon.